Tommy, I wanted to point out to the audience that you were the one that actually optioned the film rights to Holding the Man. I mean, is that something you think publishers could explore more, that they sell the rights to writers rather than producers? Just shut your ears, Imogen.
Well, they probably need a bit of patience if they're going to do that. Well, that was an unusual situation. I mean, it's because the opportunity to do it evolved from the play, and that I was lucky enough to have a very good and trusting relationship with Tim's family, which came out of the experience of researching, and then luckily that they were happy with the play, that they granted that to me. And that was a very trusting thing for them to do at the time. I didn't have any screen credits. I was, lucky enough, actually, some people on the panel gave me some... I worked for Imogen's company, I worked with Debbie Lee's company, and some, sort of trying to get my screen know-how, but across the length of making this film, I was chasing TV work to sort of qualify myself. So it was a very trusting thing for them to do. So honestly, I probably don't recommend it. I was lucky.
Michael, would you do it? Would you option... Go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, the thing that it did grant me, though, was a lot of time for discovery and creative play that was, I think, really did help. That was, was just about finding it, and lots of time to explore what this film wanted to be.
Yeah. Michael, would you option rights directly?
Yeah, I have. I have, and I've tried to do it for lots of things it's quite tricky at times. There was a Spanish play called The Boat Without a Fisherman, is the translated title, which has had a beautiful story, a beautiful concept, and I really tried hard to get the rights to it. I ended up, my lawyer ended up employing a Spanish lawyer to try to talk to the family, who were the executors of their, I think it was their grandfather's estate, who had written the play. And they were just terrified. They just terrified that they couldn't guarantee chain of title to they didn't know if their uncle may have, drunkenly one night sold the rights off to someone, and that there would be some claim made against them or us in the making of the film. So unfortunately, after I pursued that for maybe 3 years, and I just never got it. So that can happen, and you can kind of just end up going down a rabbit hole sometimes. But I think absolutely, I'm always looking for stuff to get the rights to, because I think a good idea is a good idea.
But it's so wonderful. Like, the fun part is the collaboration. Like, trying it out for yourself. Creative play, whatever. That's good. But I learned in this that the part that I loved was the collaboration, and that's with my producer, Kylie Dufresne, largely. The combination of people that bring all of their different expertise to the project is the fun stuff.
Debbie, has the fun stuff on Barracuda been collaboration?
Yeah, it's been a really smooth process, actually. So on that, we found 2 writers that we thought would work really well together, and they kind of worked as each other's script editors. They did 2 episodes each, and it's been a really good process.
When are we going to see it? Are you?
I can't say, but it will be this year,
okay.
And prior to the Olympics, if they're not cancelled, which I don't think they will be.
Okay, that's why I couldn't find it online. Good. I thought...
Yeah, it hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah. Can you talk about the process of adapting it, the comparison of the book to the finished project?
Well, with Barracuda, it took, in the book, which is a very large tome for those who haven't read it or have, it takes place over 2 distinct time frames. So Danny Kelly, who's the aspiring Olympic swimmer who's a teenager, and then in the book there's also him much later spoiler. There's an event which he has to recover from, and then he later on in his life, in the book, you see what becomes of him. In the adaptation, the decision was made to just do that earlier period, in looking at the themes that we're all interested in. It felt like that was it was kind of neater as a 4-parter. It was just difficult to know how to sort of build in that later life, but some of the themes and the meaning from that in the book is brought into the adaptation, but in the current time frame. So it was, it was a distinct decision, and Christos was on board with that, and was very trusting and is pretty happy with the result.
Why do you think Christos is an adaptable writer, though? I mean, a lot of his stuff does get adapted.
Well, not. Oh yeah, no. I suppose Dead Europe as well. It's true.
Head On.
And the
Head On.
Head
Yeah,
On,
actually
yeah.
a lot.
So
You're
what is
right.
it about his writing that appeals to a producer?
I think it's about him really identifying things in Australian society that people can relate to. I mean, I think This Lap was the most accessible of his books, probably. Like, leading up to that, Dead Europe was a intense book. I mean, that was a brave thing to undertake as an adaptation. Head On. I mean, he does tackle kind of the unsayable, the taboos in society. I think he's very good at identifying that. He's sort of hooked into the Australian psyche and what matters to people and the questions that people are asking in contemporary life.